Welcome to Offscreen. This week we're reading No Relation by Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber. A 30-something accountant agrees to be the best man at his estranged, freewheeling father's latest wedding, hoping to repair their relationship.
Now, we should say before we begin, we tried to read another script by Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber. They both also co-wrote a script called Underage. That was the week that we had technical difficulties. This was like a few weeks back. So, as a way of sort of redeeming ourselves, I guess, doing right by them, we're reading another script. And also, I wanted to say that these guys... Was that both of them?
They're basically, essentially, John Green's personal screenwriters. Because they've written Paper Towns, which is based on one of his books, right? And
yes.
Also The Fault in Our Stars.
Right.
And they're presently adapting...
Looking for Alaska?
Yes.
Right. That's what I was going to say, is that I saw Paper Towns recently. Actually, it was even after the first script we read by them. I have since seen Paper Towns, and I was surprisingly... impressed with it. I thought, and I like John Green. I'm a big fan of John Green and his books.
Right.
And his YouTube channel and everything. But I kind of thought a movie version would be cheesy, which it was a little bit at times, but surprisingly well done. Paper Towns. No. And especially the acting on the part of the several young actors in the main cast. They're all like teens, because he writes a lot of young adult teen fiction. But yeah, it was good.
Did you like Fault in Our Stars as well?
It was good. I just never want to watch it again because it's aggressively sad.
Oh, okay. It's like a cancer, right?
Right. I didn't read that book. I just saw the movie, but yeah, I think I've had about enough of that one. That's fine.
Neustadter and Weber are also famous for the screenplay 500 Days of Summer.
Oh, right. I forgot all about that.
Which that was kind of their big break, I guess. They sold that as a spec in 2006.
Okay.
I think it placed highly on the blacklist. The one we read today was written in 2009, and it doesn't seem like there's too much traction with it right now. But it's kind of like a similar vibe to, I guess, pretty much everything that we've talked about.
By them?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the John Green stuff is sort of different. But the others...
Wouldn't you say it's not too dissimilar? It's like young people and relationships, but also kind of a comedy.
Yeah, this definitely tilts much more towards comedy, but the John Green stuff, it's maybe still a dramedy, but those are more dramatic than comedic. Okay. I would say.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, still sort of a similar vibe.
Yeah. Also, they wrote The Spectacular Now, which you liked a lot, right?
No.
You disliked.
I mean, I didn't hate it, but wasn't a fan.
But they also had a movie out this year called Me Before You, which I'm pretty sure stars...
Man, these guys have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, Emilia Clarke of Game of Thrones fame.
Okay.
Mother of Dragons.
I wouldn't know, but okay.
And they have another movie coming out this year called The Masterpiece, which is about the making of The Room.
What?
And it was directed by James Franco.
I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah.
Wait, how did they... If it's like a documentary, why are they involved? Did they write?
It's a biographical comedy drama. It's not a documentary, but it's just about the making of.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah, based on a nonfiction book, The Disaster Artist.
Well, I am a fan of The Room.
Yeah, so...
For anyone who doesn't know, it's sort of a famously bad film, which is written by, directed by, and starring this guy named Tommy Wiseau, who is just... I don't even know his nationality. He has a very strange accent, and the acting and the writing and just everything about the movie is, hilariously awful. He's kind of embraced it since becoming famous for it. Yeah. We got off track there, so...
So I think we can just jump into the synopsis, right? Unless you want to say, these guys met when Neustadter was working at Tribeca Productions, and he hired Weber as an intern, and then they started writing together shortly thereafter.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah, even though they're about the same age, I
interns
guess.
Coming up.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'll get to the synopsis. Okay. It's been nearly 10 years since Evan has seen his father. In that time, he's graduated college, found a job at a bank, and met his girlfriend, Sierra, who works at the hospital in St. Louis. Then one day, out of the blue, Archie shows up, he calls his father by his first name, and asks Evan to be the best man at what is now his 5th wedding. Despite Evan's misgivings, Sierra convinces him to give his father a chance. He reluctantly agrees to go with Archie to New Orleans for a bachelor's weekend with his buddies. No promises about the wedding, though. When they arrive in New Orleans, it's nothing but strip clubs and binge drinking. Archie's friends each have problems of their own, but when he finally gets some time alone with his father, Evan admits that he hates his job and that he's shy to show affection for Sierra due to a messy breakup with his old girlfriend, Danielle. By the end of the weekend, father and son have grown closer than ever before. Evan agrees to be the best man at his father's wedding, but it's not until the ceremony that he learns who Archie is marrying, none other than Evan's very same ex-girlfriend, Danielle. Evan calls out his father at the altar, and the whole wedding comes crumbling down around him. Sierra storms out too. She's upset that Evan never even told her about Danielle. It's only with the help of his father that Evan is able to win Sierra back. Over the course of the weekend, he's learned to live in the moment and to be more open about his feelings. He finds Sierra at the hospital, kissing her right in front of all the other doctors, and it isn't long before they're celebrating their own wedding in New Orleans.
There we go.
Yep. So, initial impressions?
There were some things about it I liked about it, but overall, and I guess similar to Underage, I feel like just from these two screenplays, they don't really get particularly deep.
That's
fair. They kind of stay at the surface level of the characters, and the characters have a problem, and that problem can be solved in a concise way.
Yeah, a lot of things about this seem very by the books.
Yes.
For better or for worse. I mean, on the good side, I think it's very tightly structured, and like everything pays off and ties up, and like
I would agree for the most part.
Pretty neatly written.
Sure, it pays off quite well, too, because, like, at the very end, Evan quits his job, and then at the very end, he's designing plans for, like, a gearless vending machine, and that's something that's planted at the very, very beginning.
Right, he's at his job that he hates, and he's trying to get a snack out of the vending machine, and it gets stuck in the little spiral thing, so he's going to try and, I guess,
that was cute. That was cute.
Someone needs to do that, though, for real. Those things are stupid.
Did you not think that the resolution, the reconciliation between Evan and his father, and then Evan and Sierra was a little quick at the end?
It was a little quick, yeah.
Aside from that, though, I agree that it was well structured, well paced.
Yeah, but yeah, not especially deep. But I think that makes them also good to write for John Green. Like, his books already have plenty of that they can draw from. So they don't need to come to the table with that. Mm-hmm. And I think they did a really good job, just kind of movifying those books and still preserving the deeper stuff that John Green already had for them. But yeah, I agree. This and Underage, the other one we read, not super deep.
Mm-hmm. But I did like 500 Days of Summer. I felt like there's more idiosyncratic moments in that.
Yeah,
like it's more emotionally resonant than this ever is.
That's weird because, I think I forgot that was them because... Well, first of all, I haven't seen that movie in a while, and I should watch it again, but it does feel like a different kind of movie. It has more of an indie kind of feel than this does to me. Like, this script feels very, like, straightforward kind of, like, summer comedy movie. I mean,
I guess this was written after that, but the 500 Days of Summer feels more mature to me.
Yeah, strangely, it kind of does.
Like, having a wiser perspective almost.
Yeah.
Not that movie is without its faults. And it still has like kind of the cheesy thing where at the end where he like breaks up with Summer but meets a girl named Autumn. And it's kind of like, but it's cute and it doesn't really detract too much from the movie.
I don't mind that sort of cheesiness as long as it doesn't affect that. It's not like a plot complaint exactly.
Right.
But yeah, I wanted to say too about this, and again, this was a remark that I would have made in our lost episode about Underage.
Maybe you did make it.
But, well, I did. But anyway, no one's going to hear that. But in both cases, these scripts have really, really tight setups, I thought. It was very well orchestrated, exactly, like I said, by the books. So basically his dad shows up, says, I want you to be the best man at my wedding. And of course, at first, just like in any movie, this is classic hero's journey sort of structure where your hero refuses the call to action at first. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. But then his dad gives him sort of like an offer. He says, just at least come with me on this weekend. If at the end of the weekend you still don't want to do it, that's fine, and you will not have to see me again. That's the deal. Just to get him his foot in the door, he says, just at least give me this weekend. And so that's enough to get him to agree. And then, of course, once he's swept up...
Well, also, it's Sierra's persuading that gets him to agree.
And that was good, too, I thought.
She was a really good character, I thought.
For what little we see of her, she really was very useful to the story. Like, I thought it made a lot of sense, too, that, like I mentioned in the summary, he's very shy about, like, showing affection, especially in public. He doesn't want to be, like, kissing her where other people are, like, watching. And she kind of wants him to change and wishes that he would get over it. And so I think she kind of sees this as an opportunity for him to maybe get over some of the, like, emotional baggage he has.
Yeah, he has hang-ups about his past.
Right, so that was a really good, like, connection that helped, give this more, like, personal stakes for him. Because, like, it's one thing if he just loses touch with his dad, who he already had lost touch with for, like, 10 years.
Right.
But this made it a lot more, like, personal.
It incentivized him to actually do it. He clearly didn't care about that relationship with his dad too much.
Right.
But he cares about Sierra, so he'll do it.
Right. So that was good.
I do think, though, that, like you're saying, the structural stuff, the call to action, the refusal, it's really transparent, which I think is detrimental. I think it needs to be hidden, like, because it just seems like one page on page 5, for example, he denies his dad the visit. Okay. And then, like, 4 pages later, he acquiesces, and he's on his way to New Orleans. It's too easy, I think.
I'm okay with it.
I think it needs to be disguised or complicated.
I think that's for other better movies to worry about. This isn't aspiring to be something like that.
Well, I think that is a criticism, though. If it's not aspiring to be good, then...
Well, we've had this argument before, I think, where I'm trying to judge these on their own terms, and if I can tell it's not aspiring to be like a great piece of cinema, then I'm not going to judge it against those standards. I think it's just trying to be like a classic.
To me.
Why not? That's fair, right?
So
this is like what? Okay.
Well, but like then like the fan draft of Batman vs Superman that we read is just beyond reproach at all. Like as a screenplay, because it aspires to be nothing. It aspires to be just a transcript.
But that in and of itself is a bad thing, to aspire to be nothing good.
Isn't it? But is that not what you're saying this is?
This is aspiring to be something that I think is still an entertaining kind of movie. It's just not
so you're saying that has merit?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the thing with Pitchfork, the way they review albums. I feel like they like judge an album based on all the band's previous work and like the standards, the bar that they have set previously. So like the Pixies have an amazing album, Doolittle, that was their second, and now everything since then has not been as great, but they suddenly give it like really, really low scores because the bar was set so high with their previous album. I don't think that's
Are these new
quite
Pixie
fair.
albums good?
I think they're decent. At least one of them.
Okay.
Bossa Nova. That's the one that I think.
What did Pitchfork give that?
I don't know offhand.
What if they gave it like an 8.7 and a best new music?
If they gave that to one of their new albums?
Don't make me fact check you right now.
What are you talking about?
About that album. What if they liked that album?
No, I'm pretty sure they didn't.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you want to look it up? You should. I was thinking of this because a lot of this was just recently stated in the Great Albums podcast, which I know that we've given them a shout out before, and I'm not even trying to give them a shout out right now. I've just been listening to that podcast a lot, and also in 500 Days of Summer when he's singing karaoke.
Nice recall.
In the beginning, he's singing a Pixies song from Doolittle.
Well, they haven't reviewed either of them.
What?
Oh, Pixies catalog. It's a box set that they reviewed it in.
Oh. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, because they reissued Doolittle.
So what's the one you like?
Well, Doolittle is the one that like everyone agrees.
They gave Bossa Nova a 9.1.
Oh, okay. Wow. This must be revisionist. Wow, a 2.5. Okay.
They don't like Indie Cindy. Anyways,
whatever. I'm gonna cut some of this out because it's taking forever.
But no, I think you're... Okay. I don't know.
What were we talking about?
I don't get Brian Internet. That doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, that was hilarious to me. It was this one of the guys that came along for the bachelor's weekend. He's like, he's trying to pick up a girl and he's trying to be cool and he says like, "Hi, my name is Brian Internet," and the girl's just like, "What? No, there's no way that's your name." But I thought it was because he was trying to say something like trendy and like young people, like they're all on the internet. I don't know.
Oh, okay, sure. I thought maybe he was like trying to set it up for him to later say, "Yeah, I invented the internet" or something like that.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. I didn't care for it, but I also didn't care for how, like, it's just so tone deaf. Archie talks and talks and talks and talks about wanting to reconnect with his son, and yet none of his actions suggest that. He invites his son to New Orleans under the pretense of father-son bonding time, and yet there's 3 other people there for a bachelor party.
Right.
All the things he wants to do are things that he knows his son isn't going to want to do.
Well, I don't know if he knows. I think he really is pretty oblivious. I mean,
I think his son gave him pretty good indication that he wasn't into strip clubs.
Well, he got that finally. He got the message eventually.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I agree with you in as much as he is too stupid as a character sometimes.
Yes.
He's too oblivious.
Which makes the relationship feel kind of contrived and kind of movie-ish.
I suppose.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, Archie needs to be oblivious so that he can later have a realization, and that realization can be used to reconnect with his son, so that they can share a moment and bond.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I wasn't as hung up on it, because to me the more important character change was Evan, and he felt more realistic, at least.
Okay.
Like, I think you can afford to be a little bit more exaggerated and caricature-ish with your side characters. Granted, like, Archie is more than a side character still, but he's not the main character.
Yeah.
Evan is really the protagonist here.
Sure.
Oh, that reminds me of another point I was going to make, though, which is a good thing, I thought, again, about Sierra, his girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
It's a very cliche thing, I feel like, where you've got guys out at a strip club and one of them gets a call from their wife or their girlfriend and they are trying to pretend that they're not at a strip club.
Which happens here.
Also happens, like, really twice, kind of, because one of them is with Evan, the main character, and then there's another one of the guys that it's in their group who has a very overbearing wife, and so he's, like, trying to explain it to her. But the thing I was going to mention is, yeah, Sierra is on the phone with him while he's in the strip club, and I guess you're sort of made to expect that she's going to be, like, upset about that, but on the contrary, she's just like, "No, go for it, have fun." And I thought that was a really smart approach to take, because I think it's important to know sometimes when you do not need to add more tension to a situation. And in this case, there are plenty of other, like, problems and conflicts going on that we really didn't need to pile that one on. And if you're not going to make it a conflict, you might as well go the opposite direction and really, like, subvert people's expectations. And, we didn't need a whole other subplot of him, like, lying to Sierra about what they're doing.
Sure. And it's a nice change, too, because in these types of movies, the wife or girlfriend is usually, like, a huge nag.
Right.
And, like, I don't know, I never saw it, but I thought it looked funny, but, like, Bad Grandpa, that's, like, the entire premise of the movie.
Oh, gosh.
And it's like a refreshing change that Sierra isn't that way.
Right. I was also thinking of Stuber, which we read. It's very much like that.
Yeah, exactly.
They also go to a strip club, and he's on the phone with his girlfriend.
Right.
There was a nice moment at the end that I really liked where he's about to go to the hospital to try and win Sierra back, and his dad helps him out. They try to just, like, walk right into the emergency room, and obviously they're like, "No, you can't do that." And so they have to kind of regroup, and his dad just says, "All right, just punch me in the face as hard as you can, just, like, break my nose, and then they'll have to let me in. They'll have to, like, treat me." So they do, and it's also, simultaneously, like, a very therapeutic thing for Evan, I think, to just be able to punch his dad in the face. He even says at the beginning of the script, which I also thought was funny, he's talking to Sierra's...
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, he's talking to Sierra's parents, his girlfriend's family, and they're like, "Oh, tell us about your family." He really doesn't want to, and he actually says, "If I ever see my dad again, I'm probably going to punch him in the throat."
Yeah.
And now he basically got the chance to do that.
Just aimed a little higher, but
Yeah.
same thing.
But I thought that was
good.
A perfect synchronicity of things.
Mm-hmm. There's a running, topic, like, Evan's ex-girlfriend Maggie, they had, like, a really crazy, passionate...
Sort of roller coaster ride of a relationship.
Yeah, exactly. At one point, Evan sang her a song, I think at prom, in front of everyone.
Right.
And it was, like, really emotionally revealing and embarrassing, probably.
Yeah.
And it comes out that at Maggie and Archie's wedding, Sierra hears that...
Wait a minute, I just realized something.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a reason for this, like, psychologically, like, something I need to deal with, but I'm pretty sure I called Maggie's character Danielle in the summary. What does that mean?
Did you go back?
I'm like 99% sure. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, you did.
Yep. What does that mean, Steven? It's like my name, basically, my girl version of my name.
Can we spend a moment and unpack this?
Well, what does it mean that I'm the ex-girlfriend that he's hung up on?
Well, the movie is all about, like, hang-ups and, like, forgiving and letting go of the past. Letting be and let live.
I'm getting married in a couple months.
Yeah. So you need to break up with your past self. You need to put your past self behind and embrace the future, your future self.
I feel like I'm good. Like, I'm going to have to think on this.
Dang.
I don't think we have time to deal with this right now.
Okay. Well, we can psychoanalyze you.
Okay. After.
Yeah.
Off air.
Off air.
It's too personal. It got too real.
That's really real.
But wait, what were we saying?
Oh, sorry. So what I was saying was that at Archie and Maggie's wedding, Stella, what's her name? Sierra. Sierra learns names. Yeah. Sierra learns that Evan sang a song for Maggie previously.
Right.
And that's like such a open thing. Like that's so like open and brazen and bold in a way that Evan has never been with Sierra.
Right.
And Sierra is hurt by this. But at the end of the screenplay, once they get to the hospital, Evan comes in and sings a new song, a Phil Collins song.
Well, see, that's the thing. It's not a new song, is it? He sings a Phil Collins song to her, yeah. And then the point is, I think, though, that he is willing to be that naked and vulnerable for her now. Which is what she's wanted all along. Yeah, I got that, appreciate that, but it did bother me that he didn't write her a song. That was already a Phil Collins song.
Right.
And that didn't seem as touching or as personal.
That's a good point, but it's still pretty... the entire screenplay, she had been encouraging him to be more truthful with himself and to share and be more open, and he finally is. And it was so obvious that was coming, and yet I still smiled when it happened.
Oh.
So I thought that was good.
I thought it was okay. I wasn't won over by it that much, but it was also nice because it tied into another thing about him kind of refusing to admit that he still likes Phil Collins, which was something his dad remembered about him. Yeah. And he finally, at the end, he's like, okay, yeah.
Which ties into the theme of him, like, denying his past.
Right.
Whatever.
Right.
How did you feel about the coincidence, if you will, of Archie falling in love, marrying his son's, like, one ex-girlfriend?
I'm okay with that, again, because...
It's...
of what kind of movie it is, and I feel like you get one of those in a movie. You can allow yourself one of those, and then that's like your reason for making it a movie. It's like that's the whole conceit of the premise, basically. I mean, I know there's more like complicated relationship stuff going on in this story, but like that's like the one crazy thing that they needed to facilitate all of this, and I'm okay with that.
It's too much for me. It was a huge eye roll, but I guess sure.
How did you feel about the fact that, like, the whole surprise thing of his dad marrying his ex-girlfriend? They set up the mystery of that. They have his friends constantly, like, nudging Archie and, like, hey, did you tell him yet? And we don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. What did you think of that?
I guess it was fine to me. It didn't really, like, build suspense or anything.
Kind of did, didn't it? I thought, I mean...
a little bit,
knowing
maybe.
There's some other secret he's hiding.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be, like, more of an explanation. I thought whatever this secret was that he wasn't telling Evan was going to explain more about like why he wanted to be a better person. Because he makes a big point, Archie does, throughout the script of saying like, no, this marriage is actually going to last. I'm really going to be a better person this time. And I thought whatever the secret was, it was going to explain that, which it really doesn't. And it still never explained why he's suddenly like on the straight and narrow. Do you have any other criticisms? Should we go ahead and get into our verdicts?
Yeah.
Or do you want to first do a social media shout out?
Sure. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, our website, which is OSPodcast.com. You can email us, and we respond to emails at info@ospodcast.com. We have Facebook, which is facebook.com/OSPodcast, and Twitter @OSPodcast.
Yeah.
We love iTunes reviews.
Yeah, we haven't had one in a while, but
yeah.
iTunes reviews are great. Even if you want to hate on us, I would...
Well, we do have a perfect 5-star rating right now.
Whatever, we need to be willing to sacrifice. It'll bring us down, but it'll be more reviews, and that's good.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we get to our verdicts?
Sure.
I think I'm gonna just say a consider on both the writers and on the script itself.
Okay. I guess you're more sympathetic than I am.
I was starting to get that impression, yeah.
I'd pass on both.
Okay. What did we say about the last one? I don't remember.
We'll never know.
I guess we won't. I remember
I'm pretty sure I passed on both.
I thought the last one was pretty decent too. I thought the last
You're
one
talking about Underage.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I thought that one was actually funnier.
But
yeah. I thought this one was still okay, and like I said, I thought it's like, okay, I'm gonna compare it to food. I like food that is extremely simple and just really well done, like well prepared. So I don't need to go to like a fancy expensive restaurant and get like foie gras or something.
Mm-hmm.
I would much rather just have like a really good burger, you know? And like
Sure.
this is like
this
that.
This is a really good burger?
This script is a good burger.
No,
it's like it hits all the marks just right. Like it knows exactly what it's trying to be.
See, I think this is like McDonald's.
Whoa.
It's fast food. It's food, sure.
Well, hey, I like McDonald's a lot, too.
Well, I don't, so... Sure, if I want... I mean, I don't eat burgers, but if I wanted a nice burger, I would go to maybe a place that isn't McDonald's.
Right, but I don't think
know,
this...
like umami burger. A better burger.
Yeah, definitely a better burger, but I don't think this script is McDonald's. I mean, I think to be a script...
But it's
the script equivalent of McDonald's would be someone who, like, cranks out scripts, like they're writing one every week, and they're, like, going purely for quantity and not quality, and it's just like they're phoning it in. I didn't feel like the script was phoning it in.
I don't know. I mean, I don't want to assign intention to them because I could never know that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. If I were to write a script that I was phoning in, it would be as much of a surface level thing as I found this to be.
I think it's respectable to be able to work within the conventions of like these genres, and
McDonald's is well within the conventions of the genre.
Come up with new configurations, and I guess yes.
I just think it's lacking in substance, much like McDonald's is lacking in nutrients. Whereas like maybe 500 Days of Summer would be like I don't know, what's a better burger? It would be like an umami burger, like a good take on a burger, a good take on a rom-com.
That's a big step up.
Well, I can't think of anything. What's in between? Counter? The Counter?
No one else is going to know what the Counter is unless they live in Los Angeles.
No, there's Counter. Right. The Counter exists in Northern California too.
Okay, Northern California, but there are other states, Steven.
What I'm saying is 500 Days of Summer, for example, is a better relationship story.
I get what you're saying.
It's not a foie gras.
Mm-hmm.
It's not aspiring to be. That's not a knock on it, right?
Right.
But it's a more interesting take on this sort of thing than No Relation is, I guess.
Fine.
I don't know.
I still like McDonald's.
I like McDonald's 2 times in my life. One, when they had McDonald's pieces. I was into that for a while.
The pizzas?
Oh, God. No, I'm sorry. Monopoly pieces.
I thought you said pizzas. Okay.
I said McDonald's pieces, so you were right to be confused.
Okay. So what did you get when you were playing Monopoly? Because you don't eat anything there.
I would just eat a lot of chicken nuggets and then like feel bad about it. Well, and I was also little, so I liked it more.
Yeah.
And then when they had the teeny beanie babies, I was all about that.
Oh, I forgot that about you. You were big into the Beanie Babies. Yeah. I was too, but I think you were more.
Yeah. Do we know what we're doing next week?
Yeah, sure. We're going to read a script called Frank or Francis by Charlie Kaufman, a Hollywood satire in which an auteur director and a movie blog commenter go to war with one another.